Good morning. It's a little bit later than normal. The sun's pretty bright. It's Sunday morning. I think it's about, 9 a.m., 8:30 maybe, 9 a.m. So I'm trying to get some gardening in before the weather gets crazy today. It's supposed to be near 100 and crazy humid. So I like to get out here early in the mornings before the sun gets crazy. But pretty happy with this garden this year, with my cutting garden and my volunteers and my potatoes. Look at these potatoes. We'll see what happens. I got some sunflowers. You can see I got a lot of bug damage. That's a tough choice for me this year because I don't typically use pesticides or herbicides of any sort. I try to keep it organic. But the bugs have been pretty bad this year. My sunflowers here, look at them. The leaves are all chewed up. All these volunteer squashes are doing fine. Still no idea what they are, but they are starting to set fruit. I have a sneaky suspicion that it's spaghetti squash because I do eat a lot of spaghetti squash, and I throw the pulp and the seeds and the rinds in the compost heap. Check out these dahlias. I think this is the earliest they've ever bloomed for me. I got that one big beautiful creamy bloom and a lot of other buds. They're pretty large this year. I was pretty happy with that. Dahlias take a little bit of work. The baby's breath is about finished. There's another dahlia down there. And some cosmos and some other cutting stuff and herbs. In case you haven't noticed, I keep with the cottage style of gardening. I like as much shoved into a space as possible. I'm partial to color and things I can clip and bring in. Like I said, it's late season now. It's July, late July, mid-July. You can see I'm out here working. I got all my stuff. We're going to walk over to the shade garden. So things are starting to look a little sad right now because it's so hot. Look at this is my shade garden. It's pretty sunny right now. It'll be sunny for about another hour. My foxglove. Coral bells. I have 3 or 4 different kinds of coral bells. I just planted this foxglove, so it's looking a little sad. I got some little baby volunteer foxglove. I moved out of the big garden. I think they'll do better over here, where it's shady and cool. And all the astilbe and the ferns. More coral bells. This clematis didn't bloom for me this year. I think I gotta do some work on it. I get it ready for next year. I'm gonna swing back around to the garden. Cucumbers aren't doing so great this year. Again, pests. And I'm weird about pesticides. I don't like to use them. My onion patch, my weedy onion patch. I got plenty of basil, lemon drop hot peppers, and I just planted another cucumber and some bush beans. And I got more lettuce here that I need to bring out because I'm going to plant some more lettuce. That's a chard right there, Swiss chard. And my sweet peas are still blooming. I'm still getting fruit, vegetables off my sweet peas. And my spaghetti squash, look at that. That's a giant. The squash is doing really well, and so is the corn. All those crazy blooms in there. I've definitely been harvesting zucchini and summer squash already. And my roses with new growth. Hopeful to get another blush here in a couple weeks. We'll see. I love all the color and the butterflies. Nasturtiums help keep everything pollinated. The bees love it. The bumblebees have been intense this year. And I've actually been seeing honeybees, which have been really, really scarce. I've seen maybe 10 this year, and most of them in the past week. My bell peppers and jalapenos. Look at that. That's a watermelon right down here hiding. We'll see what happens with that. I bought that on a whim at Walmart. That's a small breed. It's supposed to be quick to fruit. We'll see what happens. Got some dill in here. All this mint. That's driving me crazy. And look at this, tomatoes that are just blushing. Oh, see, I got squash bugs in here. This has been my nemesis this year, but I guess if you're going to plant a lot of squash, you're going to have squash bugs. And the majority of these blooms are pumpkins. I've never planted big pumpkins. These are jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. We'll see what happens. It was kind of a fun thing to do. I hope I get at least one. It would be nice to have a bunch, but the squash bugs have been pretty bad. And you see the tall flowers back here, those are sunflowers. Starting to set fruit, or starting to set big buds. So I'm excited to see them bloom. I love having sunflowers in the garden. You can see that squash climbing right there. That's at the point where it's starting to get wild and weedy. There's another big spaghetti squash in here, look at that. And I know there's a couple back there in the weeds. Definitely shows me some changes that I have to make for next year. And how I plant and where I plant. Because it's kind of hard to work in this spot. And that little big boy tomato my sister gave me, she planted from seed. I'm definitely going to get fruit off it. It's growing. I think we have about 74 days before our first frost date. So I think there's definitely time. And we're going to swing around into the flowers part of my garden. Yeah, late summer, so things are starting to look a little worn out, but that's all right. Once it starts cooling off, it'll revitalize. This is the Cheyenne Spirit Coneflower Mix. Next year it'll be much taller. And my Clea May, which has been really pretty this year. The bees have been in and out of that, the hummingbirds. This is a good pollinator plant. Got some more work to do in here. I'm going to plant some more flowers in here. I don't know what to do with this space right now. I think I'm just going to move these peonies over to the fence line and try to run it down the fence line. I got some irises in there to move. And all this grass that my husband planted around the pond. I hate it, but it's his pond. It's his thing. The grass, the tall grass is really hard to work with. And once you plant it, man, you need a heavy-duty equipment to get that crap out of the ground. It kind of takes over. It's really invasive. My lilies. Nothing blooming right now. Water iris and cattails. The fish think I'm going to feed them, so they're going to all come to the top. Pond's a little low on water, so I got to get in here and look at that. Put some water in the pond. The fish are very relaxing. some people train their fish to come eat out of their hand, but we don't do that because our fish overwinter in this pond. And we definitely have an issue with heron trying to make a meal out of our fish. So we try not to teach them to eat out of our hands. We don't want that. We want them to go to the bottom where the heron can't get at them, and the raccoons and stuff. This is quite deep. This is what the decoy here is for. Because heron are territorial, and usually if they see a decoy, they won't come around. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because we have had the blue heron take fish out of our pond before. And swing back around. We got butterfly bush and lilies that are done. The sun's not shining on this yet, so there's really no butterflies and bees yet. And the bee balm, and I just started working on this bed. Got some, I think it's called Leostris in here. And some dahlias that are coming up, and some rose campion, and some hydrangea. So yeah, I'm working on this bed. This bed is a work in progress right now. I want to figure out something more to do with it. I'm going to plant some tithonia in here for the fall season, and maybe some bachelor buttons. And this is that autumn clematis. Starting to get little flowers on it. I think I'm going to try to move it. I'm going to dig it out because I really want to redo this entire bed. And this is how hot it's been the last 2 days. This was a candle I had brought out here to sit out here and drink a glass of wine the other night to try to keep the bugs away. Yeah, I didn't put it in. So now that's going to have to go inside. Probably get a little bit of use out of it, but I'm not worried about it. Till next time, guys. Thanks. Have a good day.